Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. As you can probably tell, this isn't my usual video. I'm fully aware that most Warhammer models look like this, but mine doesn't, and mine doesn't for a reason. I was sat there for ages thinking, what does true chaos look like? And, well, I feel I came up with, like, true chaos. I genuinely couldn't think of anything else that was more chaotic than what I ended up creating. So, you know, I'm sorry to the Warhammer community because I'm probably sure you are rolling around with pure seethiness in your eyes. But yeah, I wanted to make my very first Warhammer model, and I hope you enjoy watching. I watched a shed ton of YouTube videos on how to actually make Warhammer models because I've got no freaking clue. And I noticed that they scraped off all of like the plastic edging, so I did that as well to give it a nice clean edge. It makes sense. And then I went on to make my base. As you can tell, this is an IKEA pot lid. There is currently an IKEA in England that has lots of pots and no lids because I bought all the lids to make bases with. But yeah, I literally just mixed up a batch of plaster of Paris and added it onto like the, I don't know, dippy bit in the lid. And then I added a load of precast rocks that I'd made from a previous video. So if you know what video it is, then tell me because I haven't got a clue. But yeah, I made that, set him into it and kind of just let it dry naturally with him stood in it. So then I had the perfect footprints for him to stand in later on. This guy had some absolutely amazing details, but they were kind of in the way for what I wanted to make. So I spent some time with my craft knife, like gouging the bits off that I don't want anymore. And when I say gouging, I mean dangerously gouging. So let's just take a moment to pause right here and look at where my knife is pointing towards my finger. Don't do this. It's very, 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 very dangerous. So yeah, safety first. Don't cut towards your fingers. Don't be me. For some reason, I don't think about my safety until after I've cut myself. After stripping this poor fella of his dignity by removing the loincloth, it only goes down here for him after this point, to be quite honest. It was on to the sculpting. I am using Milliput, mainly because if I use my usual polymer clay and I put him in the oven, this wonderful Chaos Marine will turn into a wonderful Chaos Marine puddle. And he's quite expensive, so I'd rather he didn't melt. So I'm using Milliput. The best way I can describe Milliput is that you are literally trying to sculpt with chewing gum. It's not the easiest of clays to be working with. However, with a little bit of practice and some water, my best advice to you is water. It is great for smoothing everything out. Just dip your finger in water and smooth. I feel like nobody ever tells you this. I've watched loads of videos where people have used Milliput to sculpt with, and not one of them tell you to use water. So my advice to you, have water, and then you can smooth things out a lot easier, because this stuff is really, really sticky. I started with freezing his hips and creating, well, I need a bit more of a booty for this fella so that I can attach his tutu. So I started with the basic shape of his tutu. This is where I made another mistake. You see how beautifully smooth and flat that white piece of clay is? That's because I rolled it through my pasta machine. And because I rolled it through my pasta machine, I now have a milliput dried on the rollers of the pasta machine. It's not very easy to get off. So if you're going to use your pasta machine to roll out air dry clay that dries rock solid, clean your tools straight away, because otherwise it's there forever. I have spent a very long time cleaning wheels on my pasta machine. This was the best way that I could come up with making like the pleats on his little tutu. I did try and roll the clay out like several times, but the clay just kept sticking like chewing gum to my desk. So I was having no luck with just sort of rolling it out with a little roller. So I ended up like pinching to make it as thin as I possibly could, and then sculpting it onto like the body of the skirt that I'd already made. I did do 2 layers of the skirt as well. But I only showed the one because I figured you didn't want to watch the same thing twice. And then it was on to the first of 50,000 bows, or what it felt like 50,000 bows. My Chaos Marine was not chaotic enough, so I decided to give him some cat ears. I used his one horn. I don't know what happened to his other horn. I'm sure there's a story, but he's not got a second horn, so I used one horn to create one half of the cat ear, and I sculpted the other cat ear completely whole. So my Chaos Marine now has cute kitten ears. I've decided I'm going to call him Daisy. I feel like Daisy is a good name for this Chaos Marine, mainly because I'm fed up of saying Chaos Marine. So from here on in, for the rest of the video, I shall call him Daisy. Daisy needed some hair. I was trying to go with like the Karen look, but I feel like I successfully made the He-Man. It's a wonderful bob. I didn't want to forget about like Daisy's accessories. So I put flowers and paw prints and bows and cute kittens over as much of it as I could, just to cover up, you know, all the insignias that were on the original model. I do feel a little bad for doing it because it is actually a beautiful piece of work. Somebody has really taken some time to sculpt it. But you know, I like to make everything my own, so I flower powered that. I also went on to make this tiny little bear charm. I'm using polymer clay, yay, to make this tiny little bear charm. So I just stuck a ball of clay onto an old piece of jewellery, attached a couple of little ears and a little nose, and then stuck that in the oven to bake. While my little bear was in the oven baking, I decided to move on to making the resin crystals that would go around Daisy's feet. You know, just to up the pretty chaosness. There was a downside to using UV resin that I didn't quite think of whilst I was making it. Firstly, UV resin needs to cure, and to cure UV resin you need a UV lamp. I do have a UV lamp, but it doesn't go through white moulds. So I spent a lot of time curing these to a standard where I could get them out of the mould. However, in demoulding, one of them wasn't quite cured, and it spilt onto my brand new purple mat, which has made me very angry because I had to clean it and this happened. My brand new mat. I picked it because it was purple and it matched my logo. Now I have to use the pink side. And my purple mat. I'm not being funny, but I got very upset over this. It's brand new. There are times in my life where I ruin everything, but I don't normally do it on day one. Anyhow, I went on to use my polymer clay to attach the UV resin crystals, and then I popped the whole base into the oven to cure. My purple mat! Still reeling over the destruction of my mat, I attached the little bear charm to the gun, and then I waited for everything to cure, which took ages.
One eternity later.
After waiting for everything to be fully cured, so I waited 2 days actually for all of the air dry clay to be 100% dry before I started painting it, which I might add is a really long time for me. I'm used to waiting like an hour for something to cool down rather than 2 days. It felt like I was sat on my hands doing nothing. But then it was on to painting, which is one of my favourite parts. This time I am using my Vallejo Model Air paints, which are supposed to be for my airbrush, but they work just as well with paintbrushes as well. They're a lot thinner, so you have to do 50 million coats. I did do 50 million coats to get this pink on, so it was a good solid colour. Yeah, there was a lot of painting that you don't get to see. However, I started off with bulking out first, so I painted all of my pink areas pink, and then I moved on to painting all of my gold areas gold, and did like the bulk painting first, just so I could get like the long bit out of the way. Once I'd done all the bulk bits, I moved on to the face. This is where I realised that I really need to buy better paintbrushes. Those tiny little details I found very difficult to do with the basic brush sets that I have. So if I'm ever going to do this again, I will invest in better paintbrushes. And yeah, off screen I intend to fix his eyes. I'm not very happy with his eyes because I just didn't have the brush control that I need. So if you are going to do these miniature models, you have a set of good paintbrushes that you are going to save for details like that. I am certainly going to go out of my way to purchase some now so that I can, in the future, do this again, because I have to admit I really, really, really enjoyed doing this. It's funny because normally I have complete free reign of what I want to make, but I have to admit, sculpting something new out of something that was already really good was, I don't know, it was just a lot of fun. So if you're thinking of trying this, even if you've never done it before, because I've never done it before, this is not in any way, shape or form a professional video. I've never done this. Give it a go. It's a lot of fun. So highly recommended going to buy yourself a little Warhammer model and, you know, trying it out for yourself. Once I finished painting Sally, I propped him up so he looked like he'd had a few too many drinks at the bar and was about to stumble over. I moved on to painting the base. I literally am just white gessoing the whole base, just like dry brushing it. just catching the tops and then going over that once it was dry with my purple, and then repeating the process with the pink. Once I did that, I glued Sally to his base, and I attached some foliage around his feet just to give a little bit more interest, and then attached all of Sally's accessories, so he's got everything that he needs. And that's pretty much this project done. Once again, to the entire Warhammer community, I am sorry for the heinous act that I have committed, the heresy that is this piece. I am sorry. If I have offended you, I really am sorry. It's just who I am, and I enjoy making lots of odd, weird things. So I hope you have enjoyed this video. If you have, then please do take a minute to like and subscribe and all that wonderful stuff. I kind of hope that you do, because I would certainly love to make another video like this. I've really, really enjoyed this entire process. So yeah, please do leave me a like and a comment. It means a lot to me. And I guess I will see you all in the next video, guys. I will see you later. Bye!